The NFC Championship is set as the Washington Commanders will travel up to Philadelphia to take on their division rivals for the third matchup between the two teams this season. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this NFC Championship game for you here. And at the very end of the video, provide our predictions. But before I get into that, if you want to find a place that just talks about football and you can put aside all of the other things going on in your life just for a little bit, subscribe to the Tracy Take and tackle that bell to get notified when we put out new videos, because that's why we do this stuff also. And while you're at it, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you want to win this game and why. And Ryan, Washington, they went into Detroit, did the unthinkable, played the perfect game to come out with a victory there in Ford Field. And at the same time, too, Philadelphia, they played a very solid game. Saquon Barkley, he had a measly 200 plus rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, like an okay game for them, I'd say. So no, but really fun game to watch, and they were able to grind out a victory there, same way that Washington did. And so now they're going to be playing against each other, and it's pretty fun too, because there's no secrets really between these two teams now. I mean, I think they've thrown the kitchen sink at both of each other, like especially in the second game, and now they're going to be going at it again in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a good matchup. Jayden Daniels, not that this was like his breakout game and like his come into fame game, but this was a really big performance for him last time, coming down and leading a game-winning drive against one of the top defenses in the league. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to kind of see how he handles the defense this time. They played a perfect game in Detroit, coming out of there with no turnovers. They forced 5, and so I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup here, and just how much, and like we're going to see how much that they've really grown this offseason. The other thing I'm really curious about is how are the elements going to play a factor, because if this is another snow game like this Los Angeles Rams game was, I think that's going to be a really interesting have a really interesting effect on this game as well.
Yeah, I'm looking up what is the weather as of right now for a week out. It's saying 38 and cloudy, so a pretty
Yeah,
warm game it looks like for
yeah,
Philadelphia compared. So I will say weather-wise, I think both these teams, they're outdoor teams,
yeah,
uh, obviously. But at the same time, the way both of them play, they're both a run-first team.
yeah.
And it could be snowing, it could be a monsoon. I actually don't think that really change up too much of what these teams will do, how the defenses have the game plan. It's not like it's not like how LA had to kind of adjust a little bit. And that really took them
That's fair.
away. How they're more
Yeah,
an air raid passing team as well. But to me, though, when I look at this, and I will say big announcement here as well. Sam Cosmi, offensive lineman for I'm pretty sure the left guard or the right guard.
yeah. Left
Sorry,
guard.
left guard. He tore his ACL, unfortunately, in the divisional round game. So that's going to be a huge loss. And that's why, like, to me, like I bring that up specifically because when we look at this game here and how these two teams have played against one another, like in their first game, this was a long time ago. Philly was able to shut down the run, and in the second game, though, too, as well. In general, Philly was able to kind of shut down the run. Like they had a pretty big lead for a majority of the game, and so the Commanders had to come back. So shut down the run pretty well also. Outside of Jayden Daniels, I mean, in the second game where the Commanders won, he had 9 carries for 81 yards. But Brian Robinson Jr., he only had 10 for 24. And it's
Yeah,
not like Chris Rodriguez didn't play that much better. I will say Austin Eckler looked like he was out for this game also. So that's going
yeah.
to be a huge addition for this team.
And I believe this was the Jalen Hurts concussion game.
This
At
was
the end
also
of
the
the
Jalen Hurts concussion game
Yeah,
as well, actually. And also CJ got ejected in that game.
yeah,
As well. So a lot of players a lot of key players for both
yeah,
teams were not on the field during that game. And so I bring that up with Sam Cosmi injury. I'm just curious how this offensive line is going to adapt or to try and figure out how to solve the Jalen Carter conundrum, because the dude is just an absolute beast still, and he causes habits for these offensive lines. And then on top of that, too, Zach Bond's been playing well too in that linebacker room. The secondary, obviously with Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, Darius Slay, they're all playing extremely well. It's just I know Commanders fans are not going to like hearing this because, especially what we said in the last video, and it's like it's just the Washington is going to be behind the 8 ball again. They're going to be the underdogs going into the Lions' den. But at the same time, well, into the Eagles' den this time. They were fine in the Lions' den, but the Eagles'
Yeah.
den maybe could be more dangerous. But that
Eagles
being
nest,
said, the
Eagles nest. Eagles
Eagles'
lives in
nest.
yeah,
Darn it, that was a good opportunity. I'm
yeah,
actually upset that you said that and not me.
yeah. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
but that being said, though, they've gone into what'll be the Buccaneers? What'll be the Pirates? The Pirates
Ooh,
layer, the
Pirates Cove.
Pirates Cove. They went into Pirates
Yeah,
Cove and stole the booty. Then they went to the Lion's Den and got fresh meat. Now they go into the Eagle's nest. Can they crack open some eggs? Play like scrambled eggs. This is
alright.
all dumb. If you don't want to listen to us
Yeah,
anymore after this, I totally get it. But
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. On the flip side, though, too, if I go look at Washington still, and I know this is just regular season rankings as well. Jonathan Allen has been back, but the 29th ranked rushing defense, and Jameer Gibbs looked amazing in that game. It's like he probably would have had more rushing yards, I feel, if the Lions would have held the lead longer as well. And so if the Eagles get up, it's going to be a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley, I feel.
yeah.
And so Saquon Barkley had 150 yards in their second matchup. In their first matchup, how much did he have here? Why can't I find this? Oh, Eagles is one that they lost. In their second matchup, he had 146.
Yeah.
So the dude's just a beast, and that's just going to be a very interesting matchup here. They're almost playing, I feel like, the same team as Detroit offensively, or offensively Detroit's team. And the Eagles, I think, could be comparable. But the Eagles' defense, though, is I think going to be more
Far superior.
is going to
The
cause
the
them
other
more trouble.
the other thing too is Detroit had those lapses this season where they had multiple turnovers, and Philadelphia's not gonna do that. Philadelphia's not gonna turn the ball over 5 times in a game. You'd
Yeah,
to me,
you
you'd be
never
lucky if
know.
they turn the ball over twice, let alone 5. And I know some of those at the end there were because Detroit got desperate and they started to kind of chuck things up. But Jared Goff, I think, had 3 interceptions in the first half, including the one to end the half.
No, he
There was
had two. He had three
2.
total. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so 2, but he had the pick 6 and the one to end the half that kept points off the board. So, I don't think you're gonna get that from Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is gonna come in here. They're gonna be a really physical team. Jalen Hurts, I know it was a snow game, but Jalen Hurts looked good, as well, kinda running the football and commanding that offense.
Well,
Um,
it's so funny too to see the hate for Hurts, and it's like I think he's just playing in the offense the way that I mean, it's like if I'm a quarterback, like
well
yeah, and if I'm a quarterback and we get 200 rushing yards a game from a running back, yeah, like I'm going to hand it off
Oh,
every time,
well,
you know.
you also have a historically great rushing offense. And for me, I think it for Jalen Hurts not to lean on that, I think it would be silly. And like they're still efficient in the passing game. They still have great wide receivers, great tight ends.
Yeah,
They still pass block really well. The 2 tackles, Jordan Mailata and oh crap, the guy that's been there forever.
Lane
The
Johnson.
Yeah, Lane Johnson has been there, those are 2 of the highest rated pass protecting tackles in the league. So, like, they do a fantastic job there, and I think that's going to be the difference. Is yes, Washington is playing really well. They're playing the best football that they have all year, but I just think Philly is just going to be more talented than them on both sides of the ball. So,
Well, and
j-
I will say one of the that was super impressive with Washington as well, and is just the way Cliff Kingsbury was able to just dial up some of these plays, and then for Jayden Daniels and company to go and execute them, and that's what I'm going to be curious about. Like I think we talked about how Jayden Daniels is going to have to play perfect, Washington's going to have to play perfect. I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to have to call a perfect game offensively, because Philadelphia they're going to be able to exploit some of the weaknesses in this Washington. Just on watch the defense, they're going to run the ball a bunch. They're going to get a bunch of rushing yards. It's going to open things up in the passing game as well. I still feel like Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith can still connect, and they could have a good passing game if they needed to.
yeah,
And so, but so Cliff Kingsbury, and he did a great job against Detroit. He's going to be a head coach here again soon. Maybe this offseason, or maybe they'll do next offseason. He'll be the top coaching candidate. But once again, he's going to have to call a perfect game as well, set Jayden Daniels and this offense up to be successful. I think the biggest thing, kind of before we get into predictions here, is Washington cannot get uh, uh, oh shoot, they cannot hurt themselves, especially with penalties. Obviously, no turnovers, but one of the things I thought they did really well is I feel like they barely had any penalties. They maybe had a false start, but they need to stay on. Oh shoot, what's the phrase you say?
In
on what
phase, in phase.
in phase. That's it. So I was blanking on that. But if they stay in phase, they can keep their whole playbook open here. Really keep the running option open. But if they get behind, if they get to like 3rd and 10, or like if there's a holding penalty and they're at 1st and 20, all of a sudden they're behind the 8 ball, and it can really allow the Eagles to be aggressive. And so this is going to be a very fun game. A lot of good championship. Both championship games are really good. Ryan, who do you have winning this game and why?
I'm gonna go with Philadelphia. Like you said, Washington's gonna have to play a perfect game, I think, to come in here and win this one. Where I feel like Philadelphia, if they can just rely on their talent, I think that they can do whatever's necessary to come out and win this game. Nick Sirianni has his team playing really well, and I just think that they are a fantastic football team in Philadelphia. They do what they have to do to win. They do it really, really well. And if you're not careful, they will run you over 25 times over. And so I just think Philadelphia is gonna take this one. I think that rushing offense is just going to be too great for the Commanders to overcome.
Yeah. No, so I am also going to go with Philadelphia. We said the Commanders are going to have to play perfect, and they did it in Detroit. So I think they can. I think they absolutely can do it again. But it's I think the Eagles I think they're just probably the most well-rounded team. I was even thinking about this too when the Lions got up, like because I think like a lot of people we thought the Lions were just going to continue on what they were doing offensively, except they kept shooting themselves in the foot, and Washington played a perfect game as we talked about. But I was thinking like Eagles versus Lions, and one of the things I was thinking about is this Eagles offense. They're just so well-rounded. Sorry, this Eagles team is so well-rounded defensively. I feel like there's very few weaknesses on this team as a whole. And now, kind of look at this matchup here. That the big weakness for both teams is just going to be this rushing defense for Washington, and the Eagles have the best rushing offense in the league. So for me, I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley. I think if Jalen Hurts, you could say healthy, doesn't get a concussion, I think that they I think the Eagles pull this one out here. I think it could be something similar as where it's a pretty dominant performance, low scoring, just the way both these teams play. I think it's gonna be a pretty quick game, as a lot of running. But at the same time, though, too, I think Washington is going to struggle to move the ball against this Eagles defense. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia here, and a fun, exciting atmosphere up in Philly.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this one here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Washington Commanders? Will it be the Philadelphia Eagles? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.